Nice to be here. Definition of heaven and hell. In heaven, the French cook the food, the Germans are the mechanics, the Swiss run the hotels, the Italians are the lovers, and the English are the police. In hell, the English cook the food, the Italians are the mechanics, the French run the hotels, the Swiss are the lovers, and the Germans are the police. All right. People say, I heard that. Doesn't that bother you now? I hate things everybody's using all the time. I heard that. Well, fine. Congratulations. Imagine, Dave, he heard that. Well, I guess you won't be needing that audiometer test, will you? No, there's another version of that. I hear you. I hear you. Well, fine, Bob. I am standing right next to you, you know. Well, they say, you got that right. You got that right. Well, who are you, Alex Trebek? I'll take World War II for $500. Got here early, Johnny, as you know. I'm hooked on that commissary now. I got over there tonight. A very interesting koala flambe. Very nice. And, of course, the rack of mule. Thanksgiving, as usual. I've told you folks in the past, we don't have turkeys at our house anymore. Each year we have a different bird. Last year we had seagull. Remember I told you? They're a little tough, but you don't have to add any salt. That makes them kind of nice. Yes. You know what's great? If you read a lot of magazines and you're compulsive like I am, you're really happy when you come to an article that you don't think applies to you. You know, it's fun every now and then to be able to skip an article completely, like making a prison marriage work. Or how to give yourself a neck operation. The dangers of yodeling on the toilet. You know what else bothers me? There are a lot of expressions in the language that we take for granted, things we just accept, you know, like undisputed heavyweight champion. Well, if it's undisputed, what is all the fighting about? To me, undisputed means we all agree. Some guys are getting a terrible beating for something we apparently all agree on. Here's another one, legally drunk. Legally drunk. What's the big deal if it's legal? What's wrong with it? Guy's legally drunk. What's the problem? You know where you can stick it. There's an expression. You know where you can stick that. Well, why do we assume everyone knows? Maybe he's a new guy, never heard, doesn't know. You know? I really think there should be a government booklet entitled Where to Stick It. As a matter of fact, I believe there is a government booklet entitled Where to Stick It. They send it to you when you complain about your income tax. Don't know where to put my hands. Selling like hotcakes. Well, is this the fastest selling item we could think of to convey that idea? You know, coffee, beer, cigarettes, even eggs. You go to the average place where people are ordering breakfast, and you'll find a lot more people are ordering eggs than are ordering hotcakes. But it doesn't sound right. You can't say it. You know, Michael Jackson's record is selling like eggs. The oldest trick in the book. What book? I haven't seen a book of tricks, have you? Maybe a prostitute might have a book of tricks, but I don't happen to have one. I don't know anything about that. Now, I mentioned Thanksgiving. I get nostalgic, and we all do, I think, on those kind of holidays. It's a nostalgic time, and I think back, you know, to my aunts and uncles fighting over what's left of the wine. I had one uncle, he would always bring 2 bottles of wine on Thanksgiving, one for himself and one for himself. But he was 82. He was 82 when he died, and he still remembered all of his dentists. Not many people get to that age and can recite each of their dentist's names. He was able to do that. Isn't that odd? And you know, he had an odd will. His will, he didn't want to be buried, he didn't want to be cremated, he wanted to be thrown from a helicopter. So we did, you know, and the provision was wherever he lands, that's where he stays. So right now, he's on a lawn in Gardena. Thank you very much. Thanks enough. Thank you.
You get more bizarre as you get older.
I think so.
You're starting to, neurons are flaking off there, right?
Absolutely. I was alone a lot of the time. I had an imaginary friend. I didn't bother with him. Let him find his own. I don't have any time for people like that. You know what I mean? But when you're alone, you have to learn to play games alone. Like, I could not play hide and go seek. I played a game called Hide. And one time I hid for over 2 months before I realized no one was looking for me. And that's
teeter-totters are no good either.
No, no, it's totter.
That's
strictly.
right, just totter.
That's a sad thing, though, to hide like that, you know.
Yeah.
I was never the same after that. My mother used to say, he's not playing with a full bag of jacks. And she was very strict.
Strict mother, eh?
Yes. She was physically imposing. The person most reminds me of my mother today, Charles Carroll.
Charles Carlin.
Yeah. Isn't that odd? Yeah. And, but I do have good memories, you know. Like, see,
That's important.
I'm 53 now. That's 11 Celsius.
Yeah.
And I have...
That's true. Subtract 30 and divide by 2.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I have good memories, too. I mean, I remember, like, my mother and I would go to church on Sunday, you know, and come home, and she'd get drunk and try to make pancakes. That was terrible.
That sticks in your mind.
Yeah, yeah. School was not easy for me.
School, huh?
Yeah.
Tell me about school.
Well, I'll just tell you one thing about school. You see, I was too logical for school. Too logical. They would say to me, like in first grade, a month into first grade, they asked me a question. I said, hey, how come you're always asking me these things? I came here to learn from you.
And that's logical.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you do any sports?
Sports, basketball, well, when I got out of grammar school, they retired my jersey, but it was for hygiene and sanitary reasons. Yeah. I wasn't good with girls. You know how you play doctor with a girl?
Sure.
I would find an aneurysm. So I don't even want to talk about it. I'm getting sad.
Me too. We'll take a break and recover. We'll be right back.